Bienvenido, mis estudiantes. Welcome back to our second part of the video. We are going to turn our block now into a wedge. So how do we do that? We're going to do an extrude and cut off a chunk of this and leave it at 3/4 of an inch in the front. So we're going back to our wood block. Okay, we are going to go to the front view. So if you are in the top right now, you can go over to the orientation gizmo here, and you can click on a corner that will realign the view. We can go on front view. Okay, you can also right click to change your views here as well, and we have some other options how we want to see things. We're looking at the front view. We need to trim this, so we're going to draw a line from this corner down to this side, but we need to mark this up 3/4 of an inch. So let's just draw a line. We're going into our sketch here. We're going to start a new sketch. Okay, I'm going to grab a new sketch. Now, first thing we have to do, like always, is select the sketch plane that we're going to draw on. We are going to be drawing not on the front plane anymore. We're drawing on the face of this block. Okay, so I'm going to click on the front of this block, and let's verify that we got the one. It says face of block extrude 1. We named this block extrude 1. So that's going to help us keep organized because now our names are going to match. So we're doing the face here, and we are going to grab a line tool, and we're going to go from the corner up here that's hidden behind here. So I have to change and zoom out a little bit. You might have to pinch zoom. And I'm going to start here. I'm going to drag the line down to this side. Now, here's a word of precaution. If I'm dragging this down, you'll see there's a constraint over here to the right. And it's saying it's going to constrain this with this coincident constraint. That's what this means. It just means it's going to stick it to the line. That's fine. We want it to stick to this line. What we don't want is we don't want it to stick to the midpoint. See how that changes to this icon right here when I get to the midpoint? We don't want it to go to the midpoint. That will lock it in. Okay, so I click on coincidence. And let's say, for instance, because this does happen from time to time, you click here and your line gets stuck here. Okay, now I'm going to escape out of line here by right-clicking or hitting the escape button. And I want to move this down. But it's not letting me because it's stuck on this midpoint forever and ever. The way I can change that, I can right-click on here, okay? I can go up to my midpoint here. I right-click on the midpoint, and I can delete sketch entity. Now, it's no longer stuck on the midpoint, okay? And I should be able to adjust that and move this around, okay? What we do want it to do is we want it to stick to this line. We want it to be a coincident, okay? So I can add that. I can go up to this coincidence button, and we are going to make this stick to this line. Okay, now it's stuck. Okay, we still haven't set the right height, but we're good for now. We're going to use our dimensioning tool to set this point 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of our block. Okay, so I grab that, I drag it out to the side, and we're going to do 3/4 of an inch. You could do it as a decimal, 0.75, or you can do it as 3/4, 3/4, and hit enter. Okay, now it's locked into this dimension, and that's why we have to make sure it's not on the corner here. Okay, easiest way though, grab the line tool, click from here, drag it over, make sure you're not on the midpoint, and then you want this coincidence, this one, and then it just means it's stuck on this line. So that's the easiest way to do it. Sometimes if it doesn't do that right, you can go back and hit undo and fix it. But the reason I showed you that is you might be way into your draw and you're like, this is not moving, it's not working right, and that might be why. Okay, now we want to remove this section from our block, right? I'm going to rotate so we can see this. Right now we want we have a rectangle block. You might be handed out a wood block that's already cut into an angle here. How do we remove this? I'm going to click on this section here, and I'm going to do extrude. Okay, we use extrude to build our block, but we can also use extrude. Right now it's saying that we're adding, and let me change views, it's showing that it's sticking this out to the side. We don't want to add, we want to remove, like we're cutting it away. So I'm going to hit remove. All right, perfect. It's cutting into our block 1 inch. We're not going to cut 1 inch. We want it to go all the way through. So I can change my blind to through all, okay? And that will cut this completely off the top, okay? I could also do up to the next face. And so, depending on the different parameters, up to the next, it would go from here to the next one. But for right now, through all is perfect. Once I confirm that, I should give this a name as well. Good practice, give it a name. I'm going to keep the word extrude. I'm going to put remove. You could call it angle or wedge. Remove, wedge, extrude. Okay. And that way I'll know what that is doing. So right now we have our block cut and we have the wedge shape set up. Thanks for joining us. We will come back in our next video and do the axles.